The grand city of Veskara stretched across green plains like a shining crown. Tall towers of silver and glass reached toward the sky, and soft lights glowed at every balcony. It was peaceful on the surface, but deep inside, fear was growing. The Peace Council of the Galaxy sat inside a large circular hall, discussing heavy matters. It was one of the most important buildings in known space, yet today, everyone inside felt weak. The hall was filled with dozens of alien species. Their faces showed different emotions: worry, confusion, anger, and doubt. They came from many worlds, each far away from the other. All of them believed peace mattered, but none of them felt strong enough to protect it. Sounds of quiet talking echoed through the chamber like whispers lost in fog. In the center of the hall sat the speaker's chair, where Ambassador Rylos, a tall reptilian alien, stood and spoke loudly. His voice carried through the chamber like a drumbeat. Trade routes are failing. Pirate attacks increase each season. Worlds refuse to send support. We act like peace is a gift, but we give nothing to protect it, he said. His long tail tapped against the floor, a sign of irritation. Around him, others murmured. Some nodded, some sighed, some looked away. No one liked to hear the truth, especially when it caused discomfort. At a table near the back sat a group of diplomats from smaller planets. They were quiet, nervous, and afraid. Without strong protection, their worlds often suffered first. A small ambassador with bright yellow eyes looked at her notes nervously. "If we keep talking without action," she whispered to her colleague, "our worlds may fall apart." Her colleague, trying to stay calm, whispered back, "But we cannot choose war. War brings only loss." Near the front of the hall, two alien guards stood with bright metal poles. They watched everything carefully, though even they could not hide their anxious expressions. Rumors traveled faster than sound lately. Everyone heard stories about hidden fleets, secret armies, and strange movements near important systems. One alien diplomat, a fur-covered creature from the Mordin colonies, raised his hand. His voice was soft but full of worry. "What about the humans? Earth has been silent too long. Are they hiding their weakness, or do they plan something we cannot see?" Another diplomat shook his head. "Humanity always acts at the last moment. They wait and watch. Some say they do not care anymore." Ambassador Rylos responded sharply. "Humans cannot save us. They are fractured." Their last message to the council was years ago. Peace cannot depend on ghosts. His words triggered loud reactions across the hall. Some agreed strongly. Others felt uncertain. The name Terran still carried weight. Stories of old battles were still told across the stars. Tales of humans standing tall when all others fled still echoed in memory. But memories were not ships. Memories could not stop pirates. Memories could not feed starving colonies. A soft buzz filled the air as a large holographic map of the galaxy appeared in the center. Red blinking points shined like wounds. Each point marked a system in danger. There were many. One of the council analysts, a thin insectoid creature with translucent wings, stepped forward. "As you see, attacks have increased by 24% this season. If this continues, more worlds may withdraw from council trade agreements." "What about the Peace Patrol?" a voice asked from the back. The analyst hesitated. "We lost 4 ships last week. Their engines were destroyed. We suspect pirate ambush." That news caused many to shift nervously in their seats. Losing ships was terrible. Losing faith was worse. After hours of debate, the council still had no answer. Every suggestion was blocked by fear or pride. Some wanted stronger patrols. Some wanted negotiation with the pirates. Some wanted to ignore the problem, hoping it would disappear on its own. Finally, the meeting ended with no clear plan. The ambassadors exited slowly, heads bowed. Peace was written on every banner, every wall, every document, but no one felt it anymore. Outside the hall, the city looked calm. The skies were blue, with clouds drifting lazily. But inside the streets, citizens spoke quietly. Merchants whispered about missing shipments. Travelers complained about unsafe routes. Mothers pulled their children closer, afraid of stories spreading across news channels. In a small cafe, 2 young aliens watched the broadcast. "Do you think the council can protect us?" one asked. The other shrugged. "Maybe, maybe not." Their simple conversation carried the same doubt as billions across the galaxy. Far away, not on Veskara, but on the quiet blue planet called Earth, alarms blinked inside a secret Terran facility. Screens displayed reports from scout ships, unknown movement near trade systems, pirate signatures gathering like storm clouds. The Terran Watch Network, a group often ignored by the galaxy, saw everything clearly. Inside a dim command room, Commander Hale stood before a large screen. His uniform was simple, dark gray with a small Earth emblem. His eyes scanned the data carefully. He did not panic. Humans had seen worse. They had survived worse. But his jaw tightened. He turned to his officer. "Send a message to High Command. The pattern is forming again. We know this tactic." His officer nodded and typed rapidly. Commander Hale whispered, "We must not wait until the fire reaches our doorstep." In the distant council chamber, a message from Terran scouts had already arrived, but it sat unopened. Many leaders were tired of hearing human warnings. They thought humans always predicted danger. They believed Earth worried too much, so the warnings stayed unread. Meanwhile, on Veskera's orbit, patrol ships floated like a thin chain of lights. They watched the stars, waiting for trouble. One pilot, a young soldier named Aaron, stared at his monitor. The stars looked calm, but he could feel an invisible pressure like a storm preparing to break. He whispered to himself, "Something is out there." Another pilot on his channel laughed lightly. "You worry too much, Aaron. Nothing happens on Veskera." Aaron did not reply. Sometimes silence spoke more truth than words. Back on the surface, Ambassador Rylos walked alone in the council garden. The garden was quiet, filled with tall purple trees that bent gently in the wind. It was designed to calm the mind. But today, not even nature could ease his thoughts. He thought about the speeches, the fear in the room, and the lack of direction. His people looked to him for strength. But strength was difficult without unity. He stopped and looked toward the sky, where the faint sparkle of the patrol line could be seen. "Peace is just a word," he whispered. His tail tapped the ground again, this time with sadness. Unknown to him, in the shadow of the galaxy, many pirate groups were gathering. Their ships were dark and sharp, hiding near asteroid belts. Leaders spoke with greedy smiles, planning raids on rich planets. Their messages were simple. "Veskera is unprotected. We strike soon." At the same time, a mysterious fleet of unknown origin drifted slowly toward council space. Their ships were huge, cold, and silent. They did not broadcast identity codes. No one knew their purpose. Some believed they were explorers. Others whispered they were conquerors. Their engines glowed faintly, leaving trails of blue light behind them. On Earth, the Terran High Command watched these signals. They studied every pattern, every movement, every silence. Humans had learned hard lessons from old wars. They knew peace could vanish in a single spark. Inside the Terran shipyards, ancient engines hummed. Workers moved quickly. Engineers checked systems. Heavy armor plates were lifted by giant machines. In the center of this massive hangar stood a shadowed shape, sleeping but not forgotten. It was large, silent, and powerful. Lights glowed softly along its body. Its shape was smooth like a silver mountain. A whisper passed through the workers. "The Dreadnought will fly again." Back on Veskera, the Peace Council called another meeting. This time the hall felt emptier. Representatives argued louder. Fear made their voices sharp. Someone shouted, "We must act." Another shouted back, "We cannot risk war!" A third voice yelled, "Then we lose everything." Voices clashed like broken metal. Ambassador Rylos raised both arms and yelled, "Silence!" The hall fell quiet. "Peace is not a wall we hide behind," he said slowly. "Peace must be defended." But as he looked around, he knew few agreed. Pride, fear, and doubt clouded every decision. That night on civilian news channels, broadcasts spoke of nervous markets, dangerous travel, and whispers of human activity. Viewers argued in the comments. Some said humans should return to the council. Others said humans were too unpredictable. In a small room above the city, a young researcher watched the stars from her window. Her name was Elira, and she loved studying history. She whispered softly, "When humans stand, history shifts." She did not know how soon those words would prove true. For now, the galaxy slept uneasily. Peaceful lights shined across Veskera, but they felt dimmer than before. Patrol ships circled quietly, unaware of the wave moving toward them. And somewhere beyond the stars, engines warmed, ready to arrive. The sun rose slowly over Veskera, turning the sky soft orange. Light reflected on the glass towers, but the city did not feel calm. Citizens walked a little faster. Shops opened later than usual. Even children played more quietly in the streets. Something invisible pressed on everyone's mind. Inside the Peace Council building, ambassadors gathered again. Their faces looked tired. Some had not slept. Reports came all night. Missing transport ships, strange radio signals, and sightings of unknown fleets near neutral zones. An assistant rushed into the chamber carrying a small metal box. Inside was a glowing message chip with a blue seal. This symbol was well known throughout the galaxy. It was from Earth. The assistant bowed and placed the chip on the council table. But the hall fell silent in discomfort. Some diplomats avoided looking at it. Others stared with worry. Ambassador Rylos cleared his throat. We received a Terran scout warning. They claim a large fleet is gathering near the outer sectors. A thin ambassador waved his hand dismissively. Humans worry too much. They always prepare for danger. It is their nature, another diplomat agreed. Maybe they see shadows where there are none. The insectoid analyst from yesterday stepped forward and activated the chip. A hologram projected above the table. It showed maps with multiple red points moving like a spreading flame. A Terran scout officer spoke calmly within the message. Movement detected in Sector 6. Unknown fleet numbers rising. Recommend immediate action. Suggest increasing defenses around Veskera. His voice was not fearful. It was alert, professional, and certain. When the message ended, the hall buzzed with arguments. A heavy ambassador with 3 eyes spoke loudly. Humans always push fear. They enjoy showing their strength. A small diplomat from a farming world whispered, "But what if they are right?" Her words were soft, but the silence that followed was loud. Ambassador Rylos looked around. He feared the warning might be true. Humans had been right before, in times when others refused to listen. He raised his hand. "We must reinforce patrols. We must prepare evacuation routes." A sharp voice interrupted. It came from a tall, elegant ambassador in blue robes. "If we show fear, we will invite attackers. We must act calm." Another added, "We should not rely on Earth. Humans have their own interests." Rylos closed his eyes for a moment. He could feel frustration rising. "Peace does not mean ignoring danger," he said, trying to stay calm. But many still refused. At the back, a young diplomat secretly copied the Terran message into her personal tablet. Her name was Avera. She admired human discipline and trusted their warnings. Her feelings were quiet but strong. Meanwhile, up in orbit, patrol pilot Aaron sat inside his small fighter ship. He watched space carefully. His sensors beeped faintly, detecting small disturbances. He tapped his screen. Strange. Something is jumping in and out of scanner range. His partner laughed over the radio again. "You are too tense, Aaron. Drink water, relax." Aaron frowned. "Relaxing is for safe places." Suddenly his sensor flashed red for a split second, then returned to normal. Aaron gulped. "There, did you see it?" "No," his partner replied. "Probably space dust." Aaron stared at the empty stars, heart beating faster. Space dust does not move like that. Back on Earth, Commander Hale held a quiet meeting with High Command. A round table lit the room. Holographic screens floated around them. Leaders studied the data. One general with white hair pointed at the map. "They are forming a crescent pattern. Classic entrapment tactic," another frowned. "Why Veskera? It has no major weapons." Commander Hale answered softly. "That is exactly why. It holds the Peace Council. If they fall, chaos will spread." A woman in a blue uniform leaned forward. "We have one hope. The Dreadnought." The room fell silent. It was not a simple battleship. It was a symbol of old wars, sacrifice, and impossible victories. Many believed it was retired forever. Some thought it would never fly again. Commander Hale whispered, "Prepare it." Engines across Terran shipyards roared awake. Massive clamps released. Technicians ran across platforms. Sparks flew as armor plates locked into place. The Dreadnought's lights blinked on one by one, like ancient eyes opening after long sleep. Meanwhile, in the pirate camps hidden inside an asteroid belt, leaders shouted orders. They gathered stolen ships and recruits from many worlds. Their plan was simple: hit Veskera, steal supplies, and vanish. A commander of the pirates slammed his fist on a metal table. "The council is weak. Their defenses are thin. We strike soon." Beside him sat a mysterious figure wearing dark armor. Their voice was cold. "Make sure no one escapes. We must remove hope." The pirates cheered, their ships glowing with sharp lights like teeth in darkness. On Veskera, life was changing. Restaurants were half full. People bought extra food. News screens silently flashed warnings. Elira, the young researcher, sat at her desk reading old histories. Every page told the same lesson. Peace was never easy. It was protected by those who stood firm when others trembled. Her mentor, an older historian, entered her office. "Why the long face, Elira?" She looked up. "Do you believe peace can survive without action?" Her mentor sighed. "Peace can survive only when brave hearts defend it." Those words settled deep in her thoughts. Outside, in the council garden, Ambassador Rylos walked slowly. He looked older than yesterday. His tail dragged a little behind him. Avra approached. "Ambassador," she asked softly, "do you think humans are right?" Rylos nodded slowly. "Their warnings are never empty." "Then why do others ignore them?" she asked. "Because truth is heavy," he replied, "and pride is light." Avra looked toward the sky. "I hope we choose correctly." In orbit, Aaron's sensors beeped again, louder this time. His ship shook lightly. He gasped. "Movement!" Several blips at the edge of the sector. His partner finally answered more seriously. "I see them too." "They vanished again." Aaron quickly recorded the data and sent it to command. "Veskara Base, this is Patrol Unit 3. Possible large fleet jumping near our borders. Please respond." A quiet pause. Then a calm voice answered, "Understood. We will investigate," but no immediate orders were given. No ships were dispatched. Once again, fear froze action. Aaron stared at the screen and whispered, "Why are we waiting?" In the council, leaders argued again. Some still believed the danger was only rumor. Others wanted to prepare but were afraid to seem aggressive. Finally, a vote was cast. Decision: do nothing. Wait for more signs. Rylos's shoulders sank. In her office, Avra read the vote result and felt cold inside. She opened her secret copy of the Terran message again. Each word felt heavier. On Earth, the Dreadnought's engines hummed louder. A final diagnostic completed. Status: ready for launch. Commander Hale stood on a platform overlooking the giant ship. It stretched into darkness like a steel continent. He whispered, "We fly soon." Back in pirate territory, scouts reported something worrying. Terran engines detected. Something large, very large. Their leader frowned. "A battleship?" "No," the scout said shakily. "Something older. Something stronger." The dark armored figure spoke sharply. "Then we must move faster." Warnings reached the council again, this time from different sectors. Strange fleets, unknown signals, missing colonies. Avra spoke loudly in the next meeting. "We must prepare. We need escorts for trade ships. We must warn civilians." But many shook their heads. One leader whispered, "If we act now, people will panic. We must keep them calm." Avra replied, "Calm without action is only silence before disaster." Her words were strong but ignored. In the sky, clouds gathered. Wind rose. Even the weather seemed restless. News screens began reporting strange events. Citizens whispered in lines, markets, and parks. Fear moved faster than ships. The Peace Council called one final meeting. Ambassador Rylos stood and spoke with firm voice. "Peace must be defended. We cannot wait. We cannot hide. Prepare defenses now." Silence followed, then slowly, reluctantly. Several ambassadors nodded. Agreed. It was too late to stop danger, but maybe not too late to face it. Outside, the sun began to set. Its golden light reflected on hundreds of windows. People in the streets paused and watched the sky. Something felt like the last quiet moment before a storm. In orbit, Aaron received new orders. "Patrol Unit 3, hold position. Do not engage. Wait for reinforcement." Aaron whispered. "Reinforcement from who?" Far away, stars bent as a massive shape exited hyperspace. The Terran Dreadnought opened its eyes. Its engines glowed like suns. Its metallic hull shimmered, like armor forged in legends. It drifted silently toward Veskera's star. System peace was still only a word, but soon, everything would change. Veskera's night sky was normally calm, filled with bright stars and slow-moving patrol lights. Tonight, everything felt different. The stars looked sharper, as if watching the world below. Even the wind on the streets carried a strange energy, whispering warnings no one could fully hear. In the Peace Council tower, Ambassador Rylo stood on a balcony, looking up. His eyes were tired but alert. He watched the pattern of patrol ships like a puzzle. Something in their movement did not feel right. They drifted too slowly, like prey sensing danger but not knowing where to run. Suddenly, a sharp sound came from his communicator. He tapped it. "Ambassador," the voice of the flight control officer said, breathing fast. "Our sensors show strange activity in deep orbit. Not clear yet, but something large is coming." Rylos's tail stiffened. "How large?" "We are not sure. It is outside standard range. But the signal is massive." Rylos looked back up. The stars had not moved, but his heart did. Up in orbit, pilot Aaron sat inside his tiny fighter, scanning the darkness. His sensors blinked again and again. "There it is," he shouted. "Sector 8 object approaching." His partner finally sounded serious. "I see it now. That reading is huge." Aaron zoomed in. For a moment, the shape was too far to recognize. Then the silhouette grew clearer, a massive body moving through hyperspace ripples. Aaron whispered, "That is no pirate ship." His partner gulped. "Should we report to command?" Aaron had already sent the signal. Meanwhile, on the pirate bridge, their leader watched their scanners with excitement. They had already gathered near Veskera's edge, cloaked by asteroid shadows. Their ships pointed forward like teeth preparing to bite. "All units," the pirate leader commanded. "Prepare for jump. We attack when ready." Their engines hummed softly. The mysterious dark-armored figure stood beside the leader, silent but dangerous. Suddenly, a nearby officer yelled, "Something is jumping into the system." The leader's grin faded. "What, one of ours?" The officer looked confused. "No, something bigger." The dark-armored figure stepped closer. "Show me." The screen lit up, revealing a single massive signal, hard to track, almost overpowering the scanner. The figure breathed slowly. "That shape. It cannot be." Back at the Peace Council, alarms rang across the chamber. Red lights blinked around the curved room, casting shadows over worried faces. Ambassadors rushed to their seats. The speaker's voice cracked as he activated the emergency channel. "All systems report unidentified contact in deep orbit. Preparing full alert." Avra sat straight in her chair, pulse racing. She looked around the table. Some ambassadors looked afraid. Others looked lost. None looked ready. Rylos entered, calm but sharp. "Open all long-range visuals," he ordered. A technician tapped the console. Slowly, a holographic image formed in the center of the room. Gasps spread. It was enormous. Long silver armor stretched across its hull, with glowing lines running like rivers of energy. No pirate ship looked like that. No council vessel held that size. A young ambassador whispered, "What? What is it?" Avra answered softly, "Human." All attention turned to her. "How do you know?" Rylos asked. She pointed at the curved design of the hull. "Terran ships have a unique shape. They build machines like they expect the universe to fight them." The technician zoomed in. A symbol became clear on its side, a blue circle with Earth at its center. Rylos's voice trembled. "The Terran Dreadnought." Panic flashed in the room. Many had heard stories told quietly at night. Not of conquest, but of impossible defense. "Why are they here?" someone demanded. Rylos did not answer. Above Veskera, the Dreadnought exited hyperspace. Space rippled as its engines slowed. The stars around it seemed dimmer in comparison. Aaron stared at the sight, speechless. His tiny fighter felt like a leaf next to a mountain. He whispered, "I never thought I would see it." His partner breathed, "It is beautiful." And terrifying. Their HUD flashed. A communication request arrived. "Terran vessel requesting open channel," the system announced. Aaron's eyes widened. "Open it!" A calm female voice filled every channel across orbit. "This is Captain Mira of the Terran Dreadnought Resolution. We come in peace, but danger is approaching your system. Prepare defensive positions." Her voice held strength like steel, but kindness behind every word. She did not yell. She did not threaten. She warned. On the pirate bridge, the leader slammed his fists on the table. "No, humans ruin everything." The dark-armored figure stared at the scanner with cold interest. "We must test their strength. Strike now." While they are outnumbered, the leader hesitated. Humans were known for unpredictable tactics, but greed clouded judgment. Very well, he decided. All ships, jump. One by one, pirate vessels blinked out of view, heading straight for Veskara. In the council chamber, the hologram updated. Hundreds of red dots flooded toward the system. Avra stood up, voice shaking but strong. It begins. Ambassadors panicked. Voices overlapped. Fear became loud. Rylos slammed his hand on the table. Silence! The room froze. He pointed at the map. We cannot run. We must stand together. No one interrupted him this time. Aaron's sensors exploded with warnings. Incoming. Multiple enemy signatures! His partner yelled, Prepare for intercept. Aaron steadied his fighter. We hold the line. The pirate fleet arrived like a storm. Their dark ships spread out, forming attack waves. Aaron fired first. Blue energy beams shot across space. Pirates answered with wild red bolts. Space lit up like fireworks. Then a humming sound deeper than thunder echoed through orbit. The Terran Dreadnought turned slowly, aiming its main cannons. Light gathered along its side, growing brighter and brighter. Captain Mira spoke calmly across the battlefield. This is your last chance. Leave now. The pirate leader laughed. Fire! Weapons blasted toward the Dreadnought. The hits sparked against its shields like harmless dust. Then the Dreadnought answered. A beam of pale light flashed forward. It did not explode, it sliced. 3 pirate ships went silent instantly, drifting with glowing scars. The battlefield went quiet for a heartbeat. Aaron gasped. I have never seen power like that. Captain Mira's voice followed. We do not seek war, but we will defend peace. The pirate leader panicked. All ships, attack! Crush them. Waves of enemy fighters swarmed. Aaron dodged, rolled, fired. His heart thumped loud. His hands moved by instinct, but every time pirates pushed forward, the Dreadnought shifted like a guardian shield. Its side cannons fired controlled blasts, never wasting energy. It fought with discipline, not rage. Council defense ships arrived late but joined. They formed a protective ring around Veskara. The battle grew louder, brighter, faster. Sparks flew across space. Pilots shouted commands. Ships spun. Engines burning trails behind them. On the pirate bridge, panic spread. We cannot break them. The dark armored figure hissed, Do not retreat. We must not show weakness. But fear already spread through their fleet. Inside the council chambers, ambassadors watched in shock. They expected chaos. Instead, they saw coordination. Avra whispered, Humans are not fighting for control. They are fighting to protect. Her eyes shined. Rylos nodded. They always warned us. We did not listen. Another ambassador wiped tears from their eyes. I was wrong about them. Aaron dodged another blast. His energy was running low. Suddenly, a pirate ship targeted him from behind. He braced. A beam from the Dreadnought blasted the attacker away in one precise shot. Captain Mira's voice reached him. Stay focused, pilot. You are not alone. Aaron's chest tightened. Thank you, Terran Command. Finally, the battle shifted. Pirate ships began retreating, engines flaring in panic. The pirate leader screamed, Return! Regroup! But no one listened. The dark armored figure stepped back slowly. So, the Dreadnought still breathes. Their voice held fear. In orbit, silence returned slowly. Burning wreckage drifted quietly. Council ships limped back to formation. Aaron breathed heavily, hands shaking. He whispered, We survived. Captain Mira spoke calmly. Peace is not a word. Peace is action. We are here to stand with you. Every ambassador in the chamber listened. Every civilian on the street whispered her words, and every world nearby received the broadcast. Hope flickered like flame. On the Dreadnought bridge, Captain Mira looked at her crew. They were tired but proud. She whispered, This is only the beginning. Beyond the quiet stars, deeper danger waited, but for the first time in many months, the galaxy felt a heartbeat, and that heartbeat was human. The wreckage of the pirate fleet floated in orbit like dark clouds of smoke. Silence fell over Veskara for the first time in weeks. Citizens looked to the skies in awe, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. Even the council chambers, once full of doubt and fear, felt a strange sense of calm. Humans had arrived not to conquer but to protect, and that truth was heavier than any fear. Captain Mira stood on the bridge of the Terran Dreadnought, her hands resting lightly on the polished console. Her eyes scanned the starfield ahead. Hundreds of pirate ships had fled, and the remaining council forces were slowly reorganizing. The calm of space felt unnatural yet promising. "Status report," she said to her first officer, Lieutenant Caro. "All surviving council ships are operational," Caro replied. "Pirate retreat is confirmed. Minimal damage to civilian transports. No casualties reported on our side." Mira nodded. "Good. We must ensure they regroup under our watch. Let no one feel abandoned." Below, on Veskera, Ambassador Rylos and Avra watched from the Council's observatory. The massive shadow of the Dreadnought hung over the planet like a guardian. Citizens stopped in the streets, pointing to the ship, whispering in awe. Traders closed their shops early, fearful yet mesmerized. Children pressed their faces to windows, gasping at the light reflecting off the ship's hull. Rilo shook his head slowly. "I have always underestimated humans," he admitted. "They are different, stronger, not just in war but in will." Avra looked at him, her eyes wide. "They don't fight for power. They fight for what is right. They protect, not conquer." Rylos nodded. "And that is why peace survives when they are near." Back in orbit, Aaron's fighter hovered beside the Dreadnought. He felt small, insignificant, and yet, for the first time, safe. Captain Mira's voice came over the comms. "Pilot Aaron, your work was excellent. Continue to patrol and report any movement. We will cover all critical points." "Yes, Captain," Aaron replied, feeling a mix of pride and relief. He looked at the wreckage below and realized how fragile peace had been, and how easily it could have vanished. The pirates were not yet gone, however. On the edge of the system, the dark armored figure watched the retreating vessels, eyes sharp and calculating. "They underestimate us," the figure muttered. "Humans fight with more than machines. They fight with purpose. With unity." The pirate leader growled. "We will strike again. They are few. We are many. Numbers will overwhelm them eventually." The figure shook their head slowly. "No, they are not just numbers. They are discipline, experience, and courage combined. You do not understand yet. Humans are always unpredictable." The pirate leader clenched his fists. "Then we adapt." "Adapt," the figure whispered, "but do not forget. Some battles are not won by force alone." On the Dreadnought bridge, Captain Mira reviewed the data from the battle. Every movement, every attack, every outcome was logged for analysis. She spoke to her crew softly but firmly. "This is what we have learned," she said. "Pirates are bold, reckless, and greedy, but they lack coordination. They rely on chaos. When order meets chaos, chaos loses. Remember this. Humanity does not fight to destroy. Humanity fights to protect, to survive, and to teach others the same." Her crew listened silently, understanding the weight of her words. They were not just defending a single planet. They were defending hope. On Veskera's surface, the council called a meeting. Unlike previous sessions, this one felt different. Fear still lingered, but respect had replaced doubt. Council members spoke cautiously, but with a renewed sense of purpose. Rylos addressed the room. "The humans have reminded us that peace is more than words. It is action. We cannot hide behind speeches and ceremonies any longer. We must rebuild, protect, and unite." Avra nodded, standing beside him. "We must also listen. The Dreadnought did not arrive to enforce power. It arrived to show us what is possible when humans fight together for what is right." Other ambassadors began to speak, hesitant at first, then with more conviction. Ideas for organized patrols, reinforced trade routes, and communication networks filled the room. For the first time in months, the council acted as one. In the streets, people whispered stories of what they had seen. Merchant ships returned safely to docks under Terran guidance. Citizens walked with heads held higher, hope slowly replacing fear. Traders prepared shipments and markets reopened under careful supervision. Children ran and laughed, unafraid of the skies above. Alira, the young historian, walked through the city taking notes. She knew history was being written, not just of battles but of lessons learned. Humanity's intervention had changed the perception of peace forever. She spoke softly to herself. Peace is not a word. It is action, courage, discipline. The humans understood it, and now maybe we can too. Meanwhile, in deep space, the last remnants of the pirate fleet regrouped. Their commander's morale was broken, but their dark ally remained calm. "They think they have won," the dark armored figure said. "But humans are patient. They teach lessons slowly, until they cannot be ignored." The pirate leader growled. "We will return. We will gather more ships. We will overwhelm them next time." The figure shook their head. "Do not underestimate them. Humanity's strength is not in numbers. It is in their resolve. Every failed attack will only make them stronger. Every mistake will teach them. If you survive long enough, you will understand. Humans do not fight like any other species. The pirate leader turned away, frustrated. But fear lingered in his heart, a new and unfamiliar feeling. Back on Veskera, Rylos and Avera stood on the balcony again, watching the dreadnought slowly drift above the planet. Its massive hull reflected the light of the moon. Citizens below watched, some kneeling, some cheering, some simply staring in awe. Avera whispered, "Do you think they will stay?" Rylos shook his head. "Humans never stay. They arrive when needed, teach what must be learned, and then leave when peace is stable enough to hold itself." Avera nodded. "Then we must remember. We must act even when they are gone." Rylos looked down at the streets below. "We will. We have no choice now. The example is set. It is up to us to follow it." In orbit, Captain Mira gave her final orders for the system. Patrol ships were stationed at key points. Communication channels were open for emergencies. The Terran Dreadnought would remain nearby, a silent guardian, but ready to leave once the system was stable. Mira's voice was calm, yet every crew member felt the weight of her words. Humanity stands tall even when the galaxy doubts. Remember this moment. This is what we do, not for power, not for conquest, but for life itself. Below, Aaron and his fellow pilots saluted. They had witnessed the truth. They had seen the strength of humanity, not just in machines, but in courage, in unity, in purpose. On the Terran ship, a quiet alarm signaled a minor movement in the distant sectors. Captain Mira smiled slightly. "Good, it means vigilance continues. It means the lesson has begun." The crew nodded silently. Each knew that true peace was never permanent, but it could always be defended, if one had the courage to act and the heart to protect. And for the first time in a long while, the galaxy felt that courage. It felt that heart. The Terran Dreadnought floated above Veskera, shining in the moonlight, a silent promise. Peace would be more than a word. It would be action, and humanity would always stand tall. The dawn rose slowly over Veskera, casting golden light across its towers and streets. Birds sang quietly, and the gentle wind carried the scent of fresh morning. For the first time in weeks, the city seemed alive in a calm, unafraid way. Citizens stepped outside, their eyes searching the skies above, half expecting shadows, half expecting hope. Inside the Peace Council, Ambassador Rylos sat quietly at his desk, watching the reports come in. Communications from patrol ships, traders, and neighboring systems showed one common message. The Terran Dreadnought had not just defended Veskera, it had restored order. Fear had been replaced with relief, panic with hope. Avra entered quietly, carrying a tablet full of messages from various planets. "Ambassador," she said softly, "the messages keep coming. Worlds want to know how humans did this." Rylos nodded. "They want to learn, not just watch. That is the difference." Outside on the streets, people told stories of what had happened the night before. Some spoke of bright beams of energy, cutting through pirate ships like lightning. Others spoke of massive silver ships that moved like mountains defending the sky. Children whispered to each other, their eyes wide. Traders smiled nervously, glad to see their goods untouched. Illyra, the young historian, walked among the citizens, taking notes. Her eyes reflected the awe she felt. She wrote quickly, "Today we saw that peace is more than a word. It is defended by courage, discipline, and unity. Humanity reminded us of this." High above the planet, the Terran Dreadnought floated silently, engines idling but ready. Captain Mira watched the planet below through the massive observation window. The city seemed safe. Trade routes were secure. Citizens went about their lives. Lieutenant Caro stood beside her. "Do you think they understand?" Mira's eyes did not leave the planet. "Some will. Others may take longer. But the seed has been planted. Peace is no longer a dream. It is a responsibility they now see clearly." A gentle hum filled the bridge, the quiet power of the massive ship. Its hull glimmered under the light of Veskera's sun, a reminder of human resolve. "Prepare for departure," Mira said softly. "Our presence here has done what was needed. The rest is in their hands." In orbit, Aaron and his fellow patrol pilots circled the system, checking for remaining threats. Each pilot's heart felt lighter than before. The weight of fear had lifted. Aaron looked toward the dreadnought and whispered, I never thought peace could feel like this. His partner smiled. Humans do not just fight. They inspire. Aaron nodded, finally understanding what so many had said in whispers. Hope followed behind human ships. Meanwhile, on the pirate edge of the system, the dark-armored figure spoke quietly to the scattered remnants of their fleet. Do not underestimate them again, the figure warned. This is not a loss. It is a lesson. Humans fight for more than victory. They fight for ideals. You cannot simply match that with numbers or weapons. The pirate leader growled, but even he could feel the truth in the words. Fear and respect mingled uncomfortably in his chest. We will return, he said eventually. Next time. We will be ready. The dark-armored figure shook their head. Next time. Remember, the galaxy remembers, and so do humans. Back on Veskara, the council gathered one final time in the Great Chamber. This session felt different than all the rest. Instead of bickering, every ambassador spoke with intent. They planned trade protection, reinforced patrols, and security protocols. They drafted alliances and mutual aid agreements, determined that no world would face danger alone again. Rylos addressed the room, his voice calm but firm. Peace is not something written in law or spoken in speeches. Peace is created by those who choose to protect it, even when fear tells them to hide. Humanity has shown us that today. Avra added, we now know what we are capable of. We can defend our people, guide our neighbors, and keep hope alive. We have learned that action matters more than words. The council nodded in agreement. It was a rare moment of unity. For the first time in many cycles, fear had not guided their decisions. In the city, citizens watched the Dreadnought slowly turn its engines toward hyperspace. Captain Mira's voice came through the broadcast channels, calm and reassuring. People of Veskara, your planet is safe. The danger has passed for now. Peace is not given, it is earned. Protect it, value it. And remember, courage, unity, and hope are stronger than any weapon. Applause and cheers echoed across the streets. Citizens hugged each other. Traders and workers stopped for a moment to simply witness the silver giant leaving. Children waved at the distant ship, their laughter ringing out across the plazas. Alira recorded it all, knowing history was unfolding before her eyes. She wrote, this day will be remembered. Humanity arrived not as conquerors, but as guardians. They showed the meaning of true strength, the courage to defend, the wisdom to guide, and the heart to inspire hope. In the quiet moments before departure, Captain Mira looked once more at the planet below. She could feel the collective heartbeat of a world learning to protect itself. Mission complete, she said softly. Lieutenant Caro smiled. And yet, it feels like it has just begun. Mira nodded. Peace is never complete. It is a journey. But today we reminded them that hope can always stand tall, if someone is brave enough to defend it. With that, the engines glowed, hyperspace rippling across the stars. The Dreadnought vanished, leaving Veskara under the care of its people and council. As the Terran Dreadnought disappeared, messages from surrounding worlds arrived. They expressed admiration, gratitude, and a desire to learn. Earth's influence, not through force but example, spread like gentle light. Other planets sent ships to aid Veskara. Trade routes reopened with renewed safety, and slowly the galaxy felt a new sense of trust. Rylos looked out over the city, thinking of all that had changed. Hope is fragile, he whispered, but it grows when someone chooses to protect it. Avra stood beside him, smiling. We are learning that now. Humans reminded us, and maybe now we can remind each other. In distant space, the dark-armored figure watched the stars. They had learned something as well. Humans did not fight like any other species. Their strength was not in firepower, nor in numbers. It was in purpose, courage, and the willingness to act when the world needed them most. The figure whispered to the darkness, the galaxy will never forget them. Even the pirate leader, scattered and broken, felt a flicker of respect. He had learned a lesson about power, courage, and the unpredictability of humans. Back on Veskara, life returned to normal, though nothing would ever feel quite the same. Traders resumed their routines with confidence. Children played in the streets without fear. Citizens looked at the stars differently, knowing that something greater existed beyond them. The council continued its work, now guided by example, not just rules. Plans for security, communication, and cooperation were made with clarity and determination. Peace was no longer just a word, it was a responsibility, shared by all who had witnessed humanity stand. Elira wrote her final entry for the day, her hand steady. The Terran Dreadnought arrived when we had forgotten the meaning of hope. Humanity showed us that true peace is defended, guided, and protected. Today we learned that courage is contagious, unity is powerful, and hope can be restored even when the galaxy trembles. The words peace and courage are forever linked in our history now. And we will remember. As night fell over Veskara, the city was quiet and calm. The stars above shone brighter than before, as if reflecting the courage that had passed through the system. Patrol ships glided through orbit, council leaders coordinated with renewed purpose, and the citizens slept peacefully for the first time in months. Somewhere, far beyond known space, the Terran Dreadnought continued its watchful journey. Its mission was never over. Humanity's presence would always remind the galaxy that courage, unity, and hope were stronger than fear, greed, or despair. Peace was no longer just a word. It had meaning, and the galaxy, slowly, began to understand that when humans arrive, hope follows.